So the few months before the event were rather interesting. I had started to notice a lot of synchronicities in my life, way more than usual. Things were happening in my life that led me to believe that something was going on in the inner spiritual planes. I was making progress because things were falling into place in my physical reality, which is a reflection of what happens in the inner planes. Not only the synchronicities and strong events, but also I visually saw how the three masters, my master, Master Thakkar, his master, Master Kirpal Singh, and the master of his master, Master Baba Sawan Singh. I actually saw them as if I were a pillow and they were pillow covers. I saw them coming into me one by one. That was about 8 months before the event. So when I saw that, I had the vision, I saw it like, oh, this is really nice. So, because usually before that, I was sensing the masters around me in my life. But at that time, I saw them, like covering me, the three of them. So to me, it was very nice, like I was extra protected or extra something. So it was like, nice. Now the masters are really with me. So that was about 8 months before the event. Now I understand it meant something else, but back then to me, it was just something really nice, something that I really appreciated, to know that the masters were now really in me. That was nice. Another thing that happened was that for a while I had already been preparing to change my lifestyle because I really wanted to meditate full time. Ideally, I would have been able to leave my job and just meditate full time for a long period of time, like a year or two, but I needed money for that and I didn't have it. So what I thought of doing instead was perhaps getting a part-time job where I would work 4 hours a day and meditate 8 hours a day. So I thought, okay, that should work. If I cannot do the full-time intensive meditation, at least I can do it for 8 hours a day. That's enough to make strong progress. So I had decided I couldn't do it in Toronto. Definitely, it's a very expensive city. So I thought if I moved away to reduce my expenses, I might be able to find a part-time job to cover everything I need. So I spent 4 years planning the move, saving, and finally, back in November, well, things fell into place, as I was saying. I wanted to do things against the odds, and all of them happened. So I was really happy and thankful because to me that meant that someone wanted to help me. Someone wanted me to meditate intensively or as intensively as I could, as time allowed. So I was really happy and excited about it. And eventually on November the 15th, I managed to buy a house. However, while I was looking for properties, I had a hard time because the type of house I wanted was a little too expensive. And although I could afford it, that meant I needed to give a bigger down payment. And if I gave a bigger down payment, that meant my savings would not allow me to meditate intensively for a while, or for as long as if I didn't give a big down payment. So I wasn't quite finding the right property, the right house. And when time was approaching, the winter was coming, I didn't want to move in the middle of the winter. If I didn't move by November, I would have had to wait until May because in Toronto, winter is harsh and I didn't want to move in the middle of winter. So as I was looking for properties and I was getting a little worried, I didn't want to postpone my move. I got a message from my master, and he told me, I'm going to give you an ashram. When I heard that, I felt really happy, a little confused because I was thinking, okay, I'm glad. I'm very glad I'm going to get the help to get what I want because ashrams are to go to look for God, and if you're lucky, you will find God. So to me, that's what it meant. When he told me, I'm going to give you your ashram, it meant I was going to be able to do my meditation. I didn't know for how long, how many hours a day, but I knew an ashram is for that. So I was very happy about that. On the other hand, my master's ashrams in India are simple places. They are not luxurious. You have everything you need, but it's zero luxury. So when he told me that, I realized I had to be prepared for a simple house, not what I wanted, which was something a little more new. But I thought, it's fine. As long as everything is working, I'm quite fine. I just need a little house with a garden for my dogs. And that's all I need. As long as everything is functioning in the house, I'm fine. So I did end up finding the property. And when I moved, it was very clear. This is not going to be my house. Especially, it's not going to be a home. I should not consider it a home. Meaning also, it was not going to be permanent, and I shouldn't get attached to it. So with all this in mind, I moved, and I thought, I'm fine. What I wanted was to meditate. And if this is what it took, I was in. When I moved on November the 15th. I needed to unpack, I needed to get to know the city. I needed to get to know the neighborhood. I had never been here before, although I did a lot of research in Google. But I still needed to get a feel. I had never lived outside Toronto before when I lived in Canada. So I wanted to get a feel for what it meant to not live in a big city. Luckily, since the house was not very expensive, my down payment was small, so I had enough savings at least to last until December, the end of December. I really needed to get a job in January, but at least I would be okay until the end of December. I decided I needed to unpack and everything. So I started to meditate. Although I had full time available, I had not done intensive meditation the way I did it in India. In India I was doing 14, 16 hours a day. And the last time I was in India was back in 1998 in the ashrams. So I knew I couldn't start right away. So I started to build up my time. But I said, by December the 24th, I'm going to start an only meditation period. Like, never mind grocery shopping. I'm going to have to prepare my meals, and I take my dogs out and stuff. But no distractions. And that's how I planned it, and that's how I did it. So December the 24th came, and I started my intensive meditation. But then a few days later, I started to get worried about finding a job. And one day when I was walking walking the dogs around the block, I saw a place that needed help. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to apply. And something told me, first check your bank account. And I thought, I'm here. They need help. Should I really go home and first look at my bank account? Oh my God, but I have the dogs. Should I go in to apply for a job with my dogs? But then I thought, you know what? If I don't go now, perhaps somebody else will, and they're going to get it. So I went in. I spoke to the manager. After the interview, he said, okay, just send me your resume. I'm going to talk to the regional manager, and it's quite likely that you will stay. And I went, okay. So as soon as I went home, something kept telling me, check your bank account. So I checked my bank account, and it turned out that I had more money than I expected, because I had forgotten I was going to get my last paycheck from work, which was a very pleasant surprise. And this allowed me to extend my intensive meditation period for 1 more month. So I said, okay, I'm going to start looking for a job in January and in February. And in the meantime, through January, I can relax, I can meditate. I don't have to worry about looking for a job or money. So that's how I started January. I was very happy. I was meditating. I had money. Really, someone wanted to help me. Someone wanted me to meditate. Someone was with me, and I was really happy about that. And so then, as I was meditating, I started to listen. I was reading my master's talks, and in one of it, he said that for many years he only had darkness in meditation. He had also told us before that usually if you only see darkness, it may mean that you're advancing a lot faster than if you're taken out and you see everything nice in the creation from plane to plane, and you're really living the spiritual world. He said usually if you're kept in the darkness, you're going faster, because it's like if you're taking a bike ride and you see all the beautiful scenery, or when you go on a plane. You don't see much, but you're going way faster. So this time in the talk that I was reading, he said that for many years he was just meditating in the darkness, but that he kept going. He was a little bit, he wanted to see more, but he said, I kept going. And that suddenly one day, he said that all his rewards were given to him at once, as if they had waited, for all those years to give him everything at once. So to me, that gave me hope. I was thinking, if my master, he became a master, if he was in the dark and suddenly everything was given to him, that's okay. I mean, I was not only in the dark, I enjoyed very nice meditations. To me, my meditations were like going to the movies, everything is dark, but you see something. So it was okay. I couldn't complain. I never complained about the meditations, what I saw in my meditations. So that talk was reassuring for me. And then at the same time, I started to listen to his master's talks, Master Kirpal. And in one of his talks, he said, Master Kirpal was very strict. So he said that we should never sit in meditation and ask for experiences, that we should never ask for anything. Meaning experiences, nice experiences during meditation. He said you should just sit and meditate, and whatever is given to you, take it, but don't ask for experiences. So to me, that was very interesting, that two messages from two masters that I got them both within the same month. They had the same meaning, just keep meditating, keep meditating. So it was nice, for me, because I was starting my intensive meditation period. I was doing my intensive meditation period, and they kept telling me, just keep going, just keep meditating, keep on at it, keep on. So I did. And then one day, a couple of weeks before the event, I noticed that my meditations, the quality of my meditations here, the texture kind of changed. It looked as if I was looking at something liquid. Not necessarily water, because water moves very fast, but this was, I don't know, it seemed liquid. That's the impression I got from it. And I noticed that's how they changed, and I was happy. I was thinking, this is a new development. That's quite exciting. I'm happy with it. So I just kept meditating, And then also it happened within the last 2 weeks before the event. When I was going to bed, I was sitting on the bed, and I reached out for the switch to turn off the light. And then suddenly I heard a snapping sound, like, but it wasn't outside. It wasn't outside, it was inside. So I was very happy, because to me that meant that there was progress. Things were happening for me in the spiritual planes, because everything starts in the spiritual planes and then it manifests here. So when I heard something in the spiritual planes, I knew I was making progress. I knew I was going somewhere. It happened again a few days later. I heard again a snapping sound. Now I believe it those snapping sounds was because I was releasing attachments. I was releasing something in the spiritual planes. And one day, one very nice day, I was sitting in my living room. I was meditating in the light. But I was making really a strong effort to stay focused. I was repeating the mantra, and I was, making a strong effort to remain focused. And suddenly, I felt a vibration. It started as a vibration, and at that point I felt like my consciousness was leaking. But then it felt like an orgasm. The orgasm here in the 7th chakra. And then the consciousness kept on like going out, leaking. But then it turned out that the consciousness was actually me. So I was living my body just as pure consciousness, just as consciousness. I was living it. And as I was living it, I saw the personality. I remember thinking, oop, there goes Miriam. And then, my concepts, my ideas, my beliefs, the reality, and then the big one, the creation itself. I saw the creation falling and dropping. As they were dropping, they were disintegrating. They never existed. They were dust. At the same time, as they were dropping, that was kind of giving me an impulse. Well, me, consciousness. At this time, I was already outside of my body. I saw them falling, and it was giving me a strong impulse up. And as I was going up, I saw the big, huge consciousness. It was just pure consciousness, nothing but consciousness. And I was it. I was a little consciousness. And when I merged, I was it. I realized I was the consciousness, not Miriam. Not Miriam. The consciousness, the pure consciousness I am, was that huge consciousness. At that moment, I came back to my body, but it seems like as I left my body, my head fell back, because I remember when I came back into my body, I had to pull my head forward. And I was still in my 5 senses, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what had happened. I mean, I knew I had a very strong experience outside of my body. But at that point, I wasn't aware of the magnitude. I couldn't yet put into words what had happened. I mean,